We just had one of the most electric Saturdays of college basketball in a very long time. We'll break down some of the biggest performances and what it means for the 2026 NBA draft next on Locked On NBA Draft with No Ceilings.
You are Locked On NBA Draft with No Ceilings, your daily podcast on the future stars of the NBA, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On NBA Draft with No Ceilings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. My name is Tyler Metcalf. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. It's the last call for football on FanDuel. If you're a new customer, bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win. Joining me as always is my co-host, Tyler Rucker. Rucker, we got a chock-full episode today.
Gosh, this is going to be a heavy hitter, Metcalf. I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for asking. And before, well, you didn't really ask, but the excitement level is tilt. We are full tilt. What a day of college hoops. I can't wait to discuss it with you. We're going to get after it.
Yeah, and we have, this could be a 12-hour long episode based on some of the performances we got on Saturday. But we don't have that time. But we have all week. We'll get to stuff throughout the week. But I'm just going to kind of give you the floor here. What was one of the most impressive performances on Saturday that you want to dive into that could have real ramifications for the 2026 NBA draft?
So we're just open flooring it right away. I love this out of you. You just continue to amaze me. Keaton Wagler.
Yeah,
we got to talk about him. I think if you're getting caught up, welcome to the party. It's better late than ever. Keaton Wagler, freshman in Illinois, just goes into Purdue, puts up a 40-plus point performance, and absolutely unbelievable. I mean, if you go back and watch his tape, it's big-time buckets. It's, Illinois struggling to get going. They're down 6, they're down 5, they're down 7, and it's like, okay, it's on that verge of blowing this game open if you're Purdue, but then Wagler hits a 3, another 3, and it was smart playmaking. It was smart scoring. It wasn't forcing it too much. He was efficient. I think Wagler now is going to find himself in the mix in this top 8, top 7. I think this is unbelievable. A low-ranked recruit, barely, what was it, Metcalf, 2 offers?
3-star recruit, 2 offers from high major colleges, Illinois and Minnesota. Oh, so close. So close.
So it just unbelievable story, and it's not a fluke. If you watch him on the court, he's 6'6". He plays the game the smart way. He's got great poise and pace, and he can shoot the cover off the ball. So I think for me, that was the biggest one that all of a sudden is just going to be scorching hot for this draft class. That's just unbelievable right now.
It was just a masterful performance. Like, we don't see players go into Mackey Arena and do that to Purdue. We especially don't see freshmen go in and do that, especially freshmen who are 3-star recruits, like not recruited by anybody. He's had such an insane season. And in this game, he had, I believe it was 46 points on 13 to 17 shooting, 4 assists. It was just one of the most complete games out of a freshman we've seen this year. And when we go back to the start of the year, and he had a couple of those big games, but they're against no-name tune-up programs. It's like, all right, cool. Like, well, guy to keep an eye on long-term. He's skinny, low recruit. Maybe he's a fringe one and done, but, probably a guy to keep an eye on for next year, because he started to tail off, struggled a little bit once they started playing other high major teams. And then this last month or two, he's really started to pick up the pace, but he was also playing alongside a really seasoned point guard in Kylan Boswell. Boswell goes down with an injury. He's going to miss some time. First game back, Wagler takes on, or first game without Boswell, Wagler takes on the point guard role. 3 of 12 shooting, 9 assists. Looked fantastic. Couldn't buy a bucket. Goes into Mackey Arena, can't miss. And like you said, what stood out the most to me, it was all within the flow of the offense. He wasn't forcing stuff. He wasn't just chucking up shots. He wasn't foul hunting. He wasn't shot hunting. He was taking what the defense gave him. He looked to abuse certain matchups, but then when he got into the paint and the defense collapsed on him, he didn't throw up wild shots. He made the simple and smart kickouts to teammates. It was a really, really mature, shockingly mature performance for someone so young and before this year, kind of unknown.
It's always funny when you go back and watch some of these games because when a guy has 30 or 40 point games, you're like, hey, did they just get hot for a certain sequence
Yeah.
in the game, or did they just create 15 of these 40 points at the free throw line? And I think you just said it perfectly. Like you watch the game. Yeah. Now he goes 9 for 11 from three. Now everyone could be like, oh, he just got hot from three. And no, we still had a while to go to get to that 46. He did such a good job of maintaining the balance of like, okay, I'm hitting a couple threes. Now I can get into the lane, get my spot. He did a great job of drawing some good trips to the free throw line. Like it wasn't this like, oh, he's feeling it. Now he's just coming down and pulling up from 8 feet beyond the arc. It was like, no, like you said, he was smart enough to be like, let me get somebody out here. Let me get the bigs out here, take advantage of this and get to my shot, be patient. That's just the type of player he is. He's really smart. And I think these two performances, even the first game without Boswell, are so loud. Like the first game when he didn't shoot it well, if you watch that game, he's in complete control. He does an unbelievable job. Like you said, I think he almost had double-digit assists. It was like 8 or 9. He like 7 rebounds. So it was a complete game. And we always say the off night screams when you can be one of the best players on the court without your shot falling. He is in back-to-back games now of being like, hey, we are starting point guards out. We need you to help us. He's been an A+. So that is going to be incredibly loud for scouts around the league, and talking to them, they're already just like, oh my goodness, like this kid is unbelievable. This is awesome. So a potentially hyped draft class just got even more exciting because of now Keaton Wagler's serious rise. It's been awesome.
And obviously we don't base our evals off of one game, but this felt like more than just one game. It felt replicable. It felt reminiscent of what we've seen from him all year because the process was good. It's what we've seen from him from a decision-making standpoint, from a shot creation standpoint, from an execution standpoint. So do I expect him to go out and drop 40 plus every game for the rest of the year? No. But the shot selection, the playmaking, the passing reads, that kind of stuff, I think is what we're going to see throughout this year. Now, what I'm really excited to see is when some of these teams start trying to bully him a little bit on ball, start trying to play a little more physical. I thought Purdue's defense was kind of soft with him. Trey Kaufman-Renn and Oscar Clough got cooked on the perimeter, and he was searching and hunting them out the entire game and made them pay. So I'm really excited to see what it looks like when Michigan gets up into him, when Jeremy Fears is like, what's up, young buck? Let's go. I dare you to turn the corner on me, and starts to bully him a little bit. That's what I'm really excited to see, because my biggest concerns about Wagler for most of this year was like, man, the dude is skinny, like skinny. He's one of these freshmen who actually looks like a freshman who hasn't been through pro level strength and conditioning programs for the last 4 years. So long term, I'm really excited about what his game could look like once he does add that 10 to 15 pounds of muscle. Short term, I think there could still be some real limitations, because even in this game, we're still seeing him struggle to get all the way to the rim or really turn the corner on guys without a screen. So I do think there are some limiting factors, and not red flags, but like, okay, let's see how this translates to the next level eventually in his game. But I also think we're already seeing him figure out different ways to counter that kind of stuff.
That's the perfect point at the end. Like, it's usually alarming when it's like, okay, a guy has to get a screen all the time to get open or something like that. And I'm not saying this is Wagler's case. I'm just saying that's, some people will be like, why don't you like this guy? He's putting up 20 a game. And I'm like, well, he can't get anywhere on his own. That's not going to get easier at the next level. So it's like, you're looking for like, well, is there adjustments in between or during the season to their game, or are they just still getting by with this? And you're starting to see now, like, the mind's ticking when it comes to like, he's starting to figure out how to get guys to bite on, the last second. Like, oh, you've mentioned to me off the air, but like, he doesn't have that sixth gear to get by and put people in the dust when he's coming around the corner. But now he's figuring out like, okay, I might not have that, but now I can kind of get him in jail and get a cheap foul or draw an and one or use the hesitation to get around him. So that's the stuff you love to see from someone that's still 18 years old, is like, okay, he's figuring out like, hey, there's different ways I can maneuver myself And if you're already adjusting to that after just a couple of months, you're like, oh gosh, like the upside could be way more enticing than we're even thinking right now.
Yeah, and that ability to downshift can be just as valuable as hitting that next gear. Well, someone who absolutely has that sixth gear in their game is Kingston Flemings, who blew me out of the water against Texas Tech, and we'll get to his game right after this. It's the last call for football on FanDuel. One final Sunday, one last kickoff, the final chance to get in on the action before the NFL season officially comes to a close. It's the perfect way to cap off the season and make the Super Bowl even more exciting from kickoff to the final whistle. If you're a new customer, bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win. Make it count, because after the Super Bowl, the season is over. Last call for football on FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 60. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Okay, so Keaton Wagler, not the only freshman to put up a 40 ball on the road. This weekend, Kingston Flemings, 42 points, 15 of 26 shooting. I think 6 assists in there, 2 or 3 rebounds as well. He was outstanding.
He's a bad man. It's funny. One of the guys on the Ceilings team says it's usually not good news when your freshman point guard comes in, drops 42, and you can't pull out the W. So it's a tough one, but it also goes to show you, Texas Tech was a great performance too of their own. But man, Flemings is. We talked about it numerous times, Metcalf. Like, this guard class is unbelievable. Yeah. It's getting even better. Like, and people are starting to realize, like, okay, there's another guy. Oh gosh, there's another guy. And it's like, yeah, like, look, we're having even talked about, Arizona's freshman Braden Burries is starting to heat up a little bit. So I think Flemings is now getting to that, like, hey, there's a real conversation in the top 5. Now, Michael Brown just returned to the court yesterday too, or 2 days ago, excuse me. Looked pretty dang good now that he's healthy. I think people were like, whoa, that's why he was getting buzzed. So it's just Flemings is unbelievable. I think he just keeps showing this confidence and ability, like his game by game production and improvement. You're just seeing someone surging with confidence right now, and he's going to be dangerous. He's got a lot of tools that can really blossom.
And throughout that game, I was like, oh man, like, you're taking some tough shots here. Like, I am not loving the shot selection. And obviously I'm nitpicking stuff because the guy was 42 as a freshman on the road at Texas Tech. But then it's like, all right, well, I'm trying to, why are you taking? Because like, he hasn't always been like a shot hunter or someone who plays outside of himself or abandons the offensive flow. And that's like, oh yeah, no one else on this team right now, aside from Emmanuel Sharp, who kind of was battling some foul trouble, could make a shot. So it's like no one else out here can do anything. And the alpha and omega of the on-ball offensive creation and shot making throughout that, pretty much that entire game, was Kingston Flemings. He had to do so much. So I was like, okay, yeah, do I love that pull up 8 seconds into the shot clock from 17 feet? Not really, but am I confident that you can get a better shot? Not really. So the craft, the ability to stop on a dime and rise up. I love how much elevation he gets on his jumper, especially in the mid range. Some of the finishes at the rim, going through contact, and just the pure speed, especially straight line stuff, was so much fun. He also hit guys like Christian Anderson with some nasty counters where he'd set up a drive to his left, go behind the back, and then explode into space and then finish on the opposite side of the rim. Is like, oh my God, this is replicable. This is nasty. And it's easy, which it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be that easy, but yet he can just get to the rim whenever he wants. And then even though he was going off for this massive scoring game, he easily could have had double-digit assists and he was making some nasty kickouts. And that told me a lot about him as a player, as a point guard, and the way that he processes the game, where it's like, yeah, you're hot. You're putting up numbers right now, but you're still looking for the right play. You're still looking to find open teammates and make the right pass, make the right play, make the right read. And that was really, really impressive to me.
He's got, it's not sneaky speed because he's lightning quick.
Yeah.
But he has like his fourth gear is most people's fifth. So it's like he doesn't always. I think he always knows like I don't have to go 100% to get you somewhere, and then he always has a little bit extra that you like. It's a solid, smart like boxer who's just like I've got plenty of stuff for the later rounds, but I'm not throwing it at you early because I don't want you to get the timing down or are you expecting it. So Kingston's one of these guys with a handle package that's like, well, look, A, B, and C is going to get it done. But if you are really locked in, I can hit you with some stuff you're not ready for. He's got crazy athleticism too, where it's just like he gets downhill and you're like, wow, tough finish was like for that layup. It's nice. Then all of a sudden he comes out of nowhere and will throw down a dunk, and you're like, what? Yeah, that is like 5 more inches to that vert right there. So he's lightning in a bottle, but he's also really controlled. And that's what I love about his game is like it feels always under control and poised. But then it's like, well, if I need to get a little nuts, I can do that. I can put some speed on it. So I've just always fallen in love. The game reminded me of the Tennessee game I got to see in person earlier in the year, where the game before, or it might have been the game before or the game after, like he couldn't make a shot, but I left the game. I was like, he was in control. He was so impressive. And then the Tennessee game, nobody could make a shot in Houston and he couldn't miss. So they just kept looking at him like, save us. So this was the same vibes. It was like Kingston save us, which you don't usually have some 2 or 3 seniors kind of pointing at him being like, take us home, young blood. So obviously they didn't pull it out, but he was unbelievable. And I think you're also seeing a guy like, look, his last 3 games, he's 24th, almost 24, 4 and 7 with 2 steals. People don't realize he can get after defensively too. Yeah. So there's a real conversation right now with this kid. And if he's listed around 6'4", I think Houston's website, I think he's going to be bigger than that from seeing him in person. I think he's going to be around like 6'5"-ish. He's going to be flirting with that. If you're going to 6'5" guard like this, him and Michael Brown it's 2 potential franchise superstars at the point guard position. This is a fun class. Yeah, so I think that's a perfect spot to kind of pivot this. Like, what do these performances mean for the 2026 NBA draft? Because the league constantly tells us they value size, but this is an incredibly guard-heavy class, and we've talked about 2 of the guys. I think Keaton Wagler is very, very real top 10 guy at this point. He's 7 for me right now. We still have Michael Brown. We have Kingston Flemings. There's Darius Acuff. Are there really going to be 4 point guards to go in the top 8? Like, how do you think this could fall? I think so. I mean, look, it's a philosophy now where the NBA is a copycat league. So we just saw the Thunder and the Pacers, which is always wild to say right now. Like, yeah, the Pacers were just in the finals and they might get the number 1 pick next year. So we just saw them 2 teams that were stacked with guard depth. I think teams are starting to realize, and I think fans need to realize this too, is like injuries happen. You got to have guys. And it's not just like, hey, season-long injuries. Like the Pacers doing one with Halliburton's terrible. There's also other stuff going on. You lose Miles Turner, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I think injuries happen. Injuries happen in the playoffs. You got to have guys that could step up. Like the Celtics, with Jason Tatum out, now you got to lean more on Peyton Pritchard than you were probably expecting, or you got to lean more on Derek White. So I think teams are realizing you need depth. So teams could be like, hey, we've had people reach out, be like, Brooklyn would never take another point guard. I'm like, why not? Yeah. You need more. You need guys that can run the offense. You need different rotations. You need different looks depending on matchups. I think this is like a draft where it might be like, we don't care we have one. We're going to get another one. We're going to get another elite one. We're going to play them on the court together. I think, Metcalf, this is going to be a guard-heavy draft. And I think teams are going to be like, we don't care if we have a good one. Let's just get another good one. Let's take the upside. Let's take the talent. I mean, do you agree, or do you think it's going to be like, well, we have one, we can't. It doesn't seem like there's enough depth everywhere else right now. Yeah. To be like, we need a wing. And we don't, me and you say, like, don't draft for need. But, like, the best players available might just drop a big tier in another position. So it's like, are you going to pass up that because of, what I'm trying to say? Like, yeah, no, I have no idea, because it would really shock me if half of the top 10
were point guards, just because we almost never see that. But if that's what if that's where the value is in the draft, that's where you have to steer towards. And not doing that is just going to set you up for failure, or to make a mistake just because you didn't want to do something that felt odd. And it's like, if the best players are telling us who they are, and right now it's this guard class, but they aren't the only talented ones. There's so many other outlandish performances. And could we have seen the turning point from one of the biggest names in this prospect class? We'll get into it right after this. There's nothing like being in an NBA game. The crowd, the energy, the moment. Getting tickets, though, that part hasn't always been so simple. That's why Gametime has become the go-to app for scoring tickets fast without the hassle. It puts the advantage back where it belongs, with the fans. Everything feels quick, intuitive, and stress-free from start to finish. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKDOWN for $20 off your first purchase. That's code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. And remember, it's gametime.co, not .com. Who else caught your eye from Saturday?
I personally, for me, it was AJ Dybantsa. Yeah. Now everyone would be like, "Oh, boring answer." It's like, no, AJ looked pretty dang good. Look, I think just as important as having an unbelievable performance is, what did you do before? If you struggled the game before, how did you bounce back? And we talked about Keaton Wagler starting, like, he couldn't make a shot that first start as the point guard, but he did a great job setting up guys. Dybantsa was coming off a game where he struggled to shoot the ball. He had probably one of his worst games of the year, and he comes back and drops 43. Pretty dang good. Now everyone could be like, "Oh, it's against Utah. They're one of the 43 is 43, folks. That's a 40 burger. And any way you get it done is still impressive." So I think he's a bad man on the court, and he's Metcalf. We talked about it with FIBA. He is so good at understanding how to get to the line and get to the whistle and he drew so many fouls that I was like, you see it coming from a mile away. Oh, he's gonna live at the free. He's gonna be like Giannis at the free throw line. People are gonna be like, "Oh, this guy's always at the free throw line." Or Harden, I guess, is a better example. Like, he just understands.
People are pissed at Shea. Just wait till this guy.
Just wait till you get AJ. Because you know what AJ's good about is, like, hey, if he makes a couple. He had a couple tough shots where he just forced it a little bit. And I'm like, hey, move it. But then he knows, all right, let me come down and get to the line, reset. And it's just, most guys be like, hey, let me move the ball. AJ's like, let me reset and get to the free throw line and think about it for a second. It's just like, this guy's a monster. So I think AJ looked fantastic. I'm excited. He's got a big upcoming week, home against Arizona, number one in the country. And
that's huge.
Saturday against Mr. Peterson. Hopefully that will be a big one. What about you?
Yeah, that's going to be huge. And just real quick on AJ, with the foul stuff, like, some of it is obnoxious. Some of it is foul hunting stuff. And that drove me crazy last year, especially in high school. Like, dude, you're doing this in high school? Really? Now it's like, all right, you're doing this in college. Okay. But he's so good at setting guys up and baiting them into it, or like getting to his spot in one way, like 3 shots in a row, and then doing the exact same thing, but then pivoting back the other way and catching the defender reaching or attacking, like not trying to go around their shoulder, but like going through like the outside of their shoulder, so they inevitably make contact and their arms are out anyway. So he's just so good at understanding all of the little nuances that are good, absolutely good drive fans insane.
People can't stand it, and I think it's an art when you can do it the right way. He does it the right way. It's annoying because you're just going to be like, oh, great defense. Oh gosh, again, you get to the free throw line. Like, if you're rooting against them, if you're on the other team's fan base, you're gonna be like, gosh, like, that's not a foul. And it's like, yes, it is. But he just has that down to be like, angles, hesitations. He sets you up with one drive and gives you the same look the next time, but at the last second, now he throws you a different fake you weren't expecting. So he's really smart that way.
Yeah,
I still like the processing be a little bit quicker, but I'm being picky with. So, what about you, Metcalf? Who stood out?
A guy that we've been really harsh on all year. I think rightfully so. I think, none of it's been unwarranted, but I thought Nate Ament just had his best game for Tennessee by a landslide in their win at Alabama. Huge win for them. And this was easily the best he's looked to me. He was so much more decisive and confident and aggressive in that off ball role. He still can't create space or really anything on ball in isolation. He can't turn the corner on guys. He's a little inconsistent about like really playing bully ball. He did a little more this game, but then he was so much better at using those off ball actions to attack space, to be decisive, to get to his spots. And then when he went to get downhill, he attacked the rim really aggressively. And we just talked about foul drawing, and Ament has been very good at that all year. I think a lot of them have been a lot of touch fouls in the mid range. This game, he got a lot of free throws. He earned those free throws by attacking the rim, being like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm 210 or 6'10", 210 pounds. I'm going to attack the rim. I'm going to try and go through this guard rotating from the weak side because I am bigger than him." And he didn't know, he's got to start learning how to finish through the contact on those. But just the shift in mindset of slowing down the game when he's running off DHOs and pick and rolls to get to his spots in the mid range, but then also when he has a clear driving lane, of not being shy of pulling up short for a floater and just being like, I'm going to get to the line, just going and initiating that contact. It was the most aggressive and most physical and most effective I've seen him play all year.
He looked assertive. He looked confident in what he was doing, which is exactly what we've been wanting. And look, I've been the biggest, like I'm happy to say I've been the biggest anti, like, you cannot take this guy top 7, because I was just been like, it's not there. It's not ready. Like, he needs another year. Did I think he was going to stay another year? Probably not. I thought teams were still going to draft him high-ish, and then I wasn't so convinced after recently talking to teams. But that's against the point, because I was just like, look, I want this kid to succeed. He's not ready right now. Like, everything's all over the place. Watching this game is a complete, like, folks, the switch might flipped. And if it is, fantastic, because this class just got better. But I mean, he's got Wednesday, they're going to play at Georgia. So sneaky fun game. And I do this with every prospect. Like, you have one big game where all of a sudden it looks like the lights come on. You're like, you got to show me a couple. You got to show me another one. It's just give me a stretch. Like, let's see if you can really deliver on that and build off this. The year is about building blocks. You want to get these guys building blocks to, like, hey, get better. Like, so if Nate all of a sudden it's like, hey, he had to get to conference play and all of a sudden it clicks. Awesome. Like, because he looks like he's a 6'10", 200 plus pound forward in this game. The whole year he looked 180 and a guy that didn't want to go battle. I think this game was big on, like, you saw the confidence, the assertiveness, him not trying to, second guess. That's the biggest thing for me. And I think it's a huge thing to build off of. And look, I would love Nate to all of a sudden be cooking and we're like, woo, this class just got even more juicy. So he's going to be a fun one. And I think that's the game you're like, this is why people were high on him. This is why people are believing. We just need to see it more.
Yeah. And that's exactly it, where it's like, all right, is this one game or is this the new norm? If this is the new norm, now we can start firing up some of those lottery top 10 talks again, because that completely changes what this wing forward class looks like, because it's not good right now. But if he reverts back into some of those old habits, then it's like, all right, well, maybe you are a next year guy. I still think he could benefit tremendously from another year while still getting paid and coming out in what's, as of right now, potentially a weaker draft class. I wouldn't shock me if he's a top 5 guy next year, but if we see this from him the rest of the year, he's probably going to go top 10 lottery minimum. But that's why we watch the games. That's why we monitor the numbers. That's why we don't make snap judgments off of one game, but hopefully it's a turning point. Well, we had we just barely scraped the surface of what happened this weekend. The rest of the crew will be sure to dive into it. We'll be back on Thursday to get into even more draft coverage. But until then, He is Tyler Rucker. You can follow him at Tyler_Rucker. I'm Tyler Metcalf. You can follow me at Team Metcalf11. Find all our stuff at NoCeilingsNBA.com. I also just put up 2 film breakdowns on Keaton Wagler's game and Nate Ament's game over on the No Ceilings YouTube. Go check them out. And again, we'll be back Thursday. Until then, thank you for listening to Locked On NBA Draft with No Ceilings and making us your first listen every day.